Yes, I'm Sheriff Mark Reske for Henry County.
Chief Ed Legg for Napoleon.
Can you tell us what went down today?
So early this morning, a little before 4:30 a.m., Wood County Sheriff's Office attempted to initiate a traffic stop on a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed on Route 6 in Wood County. That vehicle did not stop. It turned into a felony pursuit with speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. They entered Henry County. Henry County deputies intercepted and joined the pursuit in the McClure area. Around east of Napoleon on US 24, road sergeant for Henry County was successfully able to deploy stop sticks on the vehicle, and that brought the vehicle to a stop on 24 near the truck stops Industrial Drive.
After that, Napoleon officers also joined in on the traffic stop. When they approached the vehicle, the driver of the vehicle brandished a firearm and made threats of violence towards himself. So officers immediately retreated and began to try to speak with the individual, and again called for backup officers to arrive at the scene. From that point, various officers from different jurisdictions arrived. We ended up blocking off traffic on 24 both directions for several hours. Negotiation teams came in, and we attempted to begin negotiations with the subject, spoke with him for approximately 3 hours, and at the end of that, these negotiations failed. This subject knew what his intentions were. I know that there have been reports during the engagement that occurred. The subject did take his own life. No officers fired firearms during that time. Everything that was utilized by officers were less lethal. So I wanted to make sure that that was perfectly clear, that all officers used either pepper balls or bean bags. So no actual firearms were used by officers in the event. BCI, along with the Napoleon Police Department and Henry County Sheriff's Office, will be conducting the investigation into this event.
When it comes to other forms of communication or trying to de-escalate situation, one of the questions that came up for us was, how come a canine, because we saw canine units were able to be there, how come that wasn't one of the options that was deployed until I saw after everything had kind of calmed down?
Take that. Sheer safety. We're not going to jeopardize the suspect had a firearm on him. He displayed it and it caused officers to have to retreat. We're not going to send a canine to get shot. It's not feasible, and that alone might trigger other events that we can't predict. So we stuck with attempts to negotiate for 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, and these negotiation teams, where all were they based out of?
So his office and the sheriff's office both have a trained person, and during that time we also called for Wood County Sheriff's Office, who has a pretty substantially trained team to supplement our efforts.
Yeah, and just how, you know, obviously, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this individual did not make any threats to officers. You know, you guys taken, you know, a real approach on, you know, blocking the area off, keeping everyone safe, and really trying to work with this individual for hours and hours and hours. You know, just talk to us about how important it is for you guys, one, to keep, you know, the surrounding areas and surrounding people safe, but also that individual who's making these threats, who has this weapon. For you guys in your offices, you know, how serious was this situation to, one, keep everyone safe, but also this individual safe as well as your officers?
So the escalation is a big buzzword in the media. Everybody hears it, everybody knows it. But the first part of that is the suspect has to be willing. In this situation, the suspect was not willing. The other portion of that is we have to have an environment that's safe to de-escalate in. In this case, we had to shut down 4 lanes of a major U.S. highway for nearly 4 hours, I believe, 3-4 hours. And it's still in the process of being opened up. So there's a lot that goes into it to first be able to contain it, to be able to make it safe for us to even begin the efforts to de-escalate. But the biggest part of de-escalation is that person that we're trying to de-escalate. we can't project it onto them, we can't force it on them, they have to be willing. And unfortunately, this person was just not willing to talk and negotiate with us.
Yeah, I'm sorry, was it Kansas plates? Do you know if this person was from the area or driving through Wood County?
I don't recall exactly, and we have to sort all that out, his identity, the
Yeah.
plates, the vehicle, that's all under investigation, and I can't recall exactly where he was from at this time.
Because of the fact that it was high speed, is that why so many folks were involved? Because it seemed like a couple EMS, but then a large law enforcement presence was there.
The collection of law enforcement occurred after the stop. Initially, it was just a couple of units that showed up once the car came to a stop. And then once the real danger was realized, that's when, our backup units, and then again, realizing that a negotiation had to occur, and then a large safety zone had to be established. That takes a lot of officers, and again, with ODOT and a lot of different agencies had to be called in to make sure we had a safe zone to be able to operate in.
So the sheer number was literally due to safety, because of course, comments can be made, that's a lot of people for just one person.
Yeah, sure. However, we don't know how many guns he has, how many rounds he has, what his intentions are. There's just so many unknowns in all those events. It's always easy afterwards to look back and be like, hey, yeah, we had a lot of help. But we also had people flying drones to give us the best viewpoints to see if it's safe enough for us to even be close enough to negotiate. There's a lot of moving pieces, and generally, it's better to overload and figure out what you need and don't need versus having something unfold and realizing, hey, I needed 10 more guys and I didn't have them. In this situation, I think what we had there was adequate, but I wouldn't say it was an overload. I mean, we don't know what we were dealing with in the moment.
And it was just one male driver in the vehicle when you guys, did your search afterwards?
Correct.
Okay, cool. And my biggest thing with all this, going on, all these different agencies, for you guys, obviously we never want a situation like this, and we never want something to end like this. But nothing really trains you, for that. There is training, there are practices, but for you guys, just being able to rely on each other, to rely on, Wood County, to rely on the State Highway Patrol. Just talk to us about how, close-knit of a group this is, and really working together, figuring out all these moving pieces together. What was it like for you guys to have all these different agencies, surround this area, trying to keep this safe, trying to keep this, a peaceful, de-escalating situation? What was that like for you guys?
We have a pretty strong, probably the best ever working relationship, I would say. We have MOUs in place where, with no request, if our officers or our deputies hear a serious call in the city or vice versa, if the supervisors or senior officers deem it important to go to those calls, we just go. In this event, it falls in their jurisdiction either way. It was heading towards their jurisdiction, but regardless, we work well together. We respond to each other's calls, especially if we know it's going to take additional resources. It's been pretty exceptional, and today was evidence of that. Wood County also, they've historically had a pretty strong sheriff's office. We've used their negotiation teams multiple times over probably the last decade or so. So it's nice knowing about those resources and be able to tap into them.
And truly, we do train this.
Yeah.
We do train
Yes.
this interagency working together, especially the Highway Patrol, Wood County, with the various counties. We have a drug task force that involves all of Northwest Ohio, and we all train together. So, we do train and communicate, so it does work very effectively.
In those negotiations, will they get a long pole, you try to give something to the driver?
Yes. So again, I don't want to call it failed negotiations because it's hard to even get him off to a start. He was just not cooperative with trying to get us to communicate with him. We just couldn't get much communication, and that was an effort to offer a way to communicate, and he essentially rejected that effort. Yes.
It was a phone?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And the majority of the threats were made about himself, right? He wasn't shouting at police officers, threatening to cause any harm to them.
I'm sorry.
The threats made with the weapon that the driver had, most of the threats, if not all the threats, were made towards themselves, not shouting or threatening or pointing anything at you guys?
That's to be investigated. It's
Okay.
Again, in those unfolding events, it's hard to know what
Yeah.
the intent is, where the barrel's pointed. It's very difficult to know.
Do you know, pistol, rifle, what kind of weapon it was? That it looked like, maybe?
It was a pistol.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Too easy.
And then at the end of this, well, you can't be happy because somebody died. But given the fact that overall safety for many, was successful, does this feel like something that we can use going forward? Like this was a positive, less, or everything that's positive whenever an officer isn't injured is positive? Like how does the, and I know it's still an ongoing investigation, so.
Well, I'll say this, and I think he'll probably echo it pretty strongly. It's not a win because a lot of cops are gonna go home today knowing that somebody ended their life. So there's a lot of mental health at stake there. There's a lot of stuff that those people are exposed to on a regular basis, and this is just one more chip to carry. So while none of us are physically injured, yes, it's for many officers, that's something else that they just add to their baggage.
I will absolutely echo that. It is, suicide especially has been a situation that is a continual thing in law enforcement, and, we deal with it every day, and we see it every day. So it's a tough thing to deal with, and especially someone that you spoke with for 3 hours this morning, and to have to now go home and try to live a normal life is going to be difficult.
Thank you guys for your time.
Did you guys use the K-9? Was the K-9 utilized at all?
Not in the sense of deployed on the person. It was utilized in the sense of present and an option. Thank you.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
so much.